Given the equation m equals 30 times h minus 10, where h is hours and m is miles, an increase of 4 hours will lead to a increase or decrease of blank miles. Okay, so to start working on a problem like this, the best thing to do is to make a table and to just start plugging some data in. All right. So the easiest way to do this is to copy the equation down, m equals 30h minus 10. And we call this as our input variable, and this is our output variable because it's equal to, so we get this one out, this one goes in. So we always put the input variable on the left of our t table and the output variable on our right. We also call it the domain and the range. The domain is the input, the range is the output. So anyways, we put this variable here on the left and this variable here on the right. And that's pretty specific and pretty common in math to set up your table like this. Okay, so now at this point, we just want to plug some numbers in and kind of see what we get. You can use a calculator to do this. I usually pick pretty easy numbers so that way you just kind of get a feel for what's happening in the equation. So let's just take 0, for example. So like 0 hours. Well, 30 times 0, because this is multiplication right here, 30 times 0 is 0. Minus 10 would be negative 10. So now that doesn't really make sense because, you know, if I don't travel any amount of time, I'm actually going backwards in miles. So that doesn't really make sense, but at least for our equation purposes, it'll help us kind of get started. So now let's put a 1 in there. So 30 times 1 is 30. Minus 10 is 20. So what this says is if I travel for 1 hour, I go 20 miles. 1 hour, I go 20 miles. So now let's plug 2 in. So 30 times 2 is 60. And 60 minus 10 is 50. Okay, so if I travel 1 hour, I go 20 miles. If I travel 2 hours, I go 50 miles. All right, now let's kind of read the problem. It says an increase of 4 hours. An increase of 4 hours. Okay, so basically, I want to figure out what happens to my miles if I increase my hours by 4. So let's go ahead and put 4 in here. Okay, and so 30 times 4 is 120. And 120 minus 10 is 110. Okay, so if I increase by 4 hours from here to here, I just increased by 4 hours, so that's plus 4 hours. What happened from here to here? Well, didn't I go up 120? Because I actually started at negative 10. I was at negative 10 and now I'm at positive 110. So I actually went up 120. Okay, so now my question here is an increase of 4 hours will lead to a increase of 120 miles. An increase, so going 4 hours, an increase of 4 hours will do an increase of 120 miles. You know, again, how do we do that? Well, guess what? When I plugged in 4 for H, 4 times 30 was 120. So that was our increase. You know, right away it's 0, and then we plug in 4, we get 120. So that would be an increase in 120 miles total. Okay, now, of course, if you travel 4 hours, you only go 110 miles, but it is an increase in 120. So hopefully that makes sense. We'll keep working on this in the next few problems. Again, So the answer is increase of 120 miles.